What is the difference between a Java synchronized block and a Java synchronized method? Option A synchronized block locks on an object while a synchronized method locks on a class. Option B, a synchronized method locks on an object while a synchronized block locks on a class. Option C, there is no difference. Option D, both are invalid Java syntax. Okay, let's understand all these options and find out the correct one. It could be two options, maybe correct. Okay, let's check all the options one by one. But before that, just let me tell you what is Java synchronized block and what is Java synchronized method. Okay, let's understand first what is Java synchronized method. A synchronized method is a special kind of method in Java that helps in keeping things safe when multiple people or threads are trying to use it at the same time. Okay, just let me tell you how it works. We are discussing Java synchronized method. Java synchronized method. If I talk about normal methods, imagine you have a toy that multiple friends want to play with. If everyone tries to play with it at the same time, they might break it or fight over it. If it would be a normal, suppose if it is a synchronized method, if it is a synchronized method, now imagine you decide that only one friend can play with the toy at a time. Only one friend can play with the toy at a time. You give the toy to one friend and everyone else has to wait for their turn. This way, the toy stays safe and everyone gets a chance to play without fighting. Yes, so if I talk about Java, like in Java, what it means, like Java synchronized method. Okay, in Java, a synchronized method does something similar. When a thread like a friend want to use the method like the toy wants to use the method like the toy, it locks the method. This means no other thread can use it until the first thread is done. In Java, we have the instance method and static method. Okay, let's first discuss about the instance method. If the method is not static, it locks the specific object. For example, if you have multiple toy cars and you say only one friend can play with one car at a time, each toy car is treated separately. You may think like how you can use these methods in your code. Just let me tell you how you can write it in your code. Like public synchronized void play with toy. Okay, let me tell you what is static method. Now we know about the instance method. Okay, let me tell you the static methods. If the method is static, it locks the whole class. It's like saying only one friend can use any toy from a specific toy brand at a time, no matter which specific toy it is. And how you can integrate that method in your code, let me tell you, like the public. Don't worry, we will do all these practical things in our upcoming lectures, but just here my focus is to just let you understand what is the question and in minimum time just choose the right option. Okay, public static synchronized void play with any toy. This is the block, and inside this block you can write all your codes. So for example, just let me write a code. Imagine you have class called counter. You have class public. This is for example I'm just taking so that it would be easy for you to understand. Okay, public class counter. Like I want to create an integer count variable. Okay, let me create private int count is equal to 0. This method is synchronized, so only one thread can increment the count at a time. Okay, let me write the further code like public synchronized void increment. This is the code, and this is the block of that code. Here you can write your code if you want to, but one thing, for increasing the count you need to write this code inside the block like count plus plus. And if I write one more method inside this counter class, let me write it like public synchronized int get count, and inside the block we need to return count. First we are changing the count value from 0 to 1, 2, 3 by using the post increment operator, and here we are returning that count value that will show on the output screen. What happens here, incrementing the count, when one thread calls increment method, it locks the counter object. No other thread can call increment method or get count on the same counter object until the first thread finishes. And get count method, for knowing the value of count by using get count method, when one thread calls get count, it also locks the counter object. No other thread can call increment method or get count method on the same counter object until the first thread finishes. So actually, for managing the values to be consistent all the time, so that we use the synchronized methods. By using synchronized methods, we make sure that our count is always accurate and no threads interfere with each other. This way our program runs smoothly, just like making sure each friend gets their turn to play with their toy without any fights. Okay, let's come back to the question. Okay, let me resize it. Okay, let's come back to the question. Question is saying, what is the difference between a Java synchronized block and a Java synchronized method? Okay, then let's talk about first Java synchronized method. A synchronized method locks the entire method. This is definition what I'm just telling you. A synchronized method locks the entire method. This means that when a thread calls a synchronized method on an object, it locks the object for the duration of the method execution. If the method is a static method, it locks the class object. For example, we have already seen the examples, but just let me show you how you can use in your code like the Java synchronized methods. Previously, I just want to show the situations where you can use like the toy and the car, but here just I want to show you how actually we use synchronized method, but we have already knows about it. Let me tell you about Java synchronized block. Java synchronized block. A synchronized block allows more fine-grained control by locking any portion of the method. It locks the specified object for the duration of the block, allowing for more efficient synchronization in some cases by reducing the scope of the lock. For example, let me take an example of, okay, let me change the color. Okay, here I am just showing you the example like for the synchronized block. Let me just write a random program like public random code where you can use, like just I want to show you how you can use synchronized block. Public void method with synchronized block. Okay, let me resize it. Okay, yeah. Inside the method, we can use the synchronized keyword for the specific portion of the code or block, and inside that you can write your code and this will close. So if I come back to the question and talk about the Option A, like a synchronized block locks on an object while a synchronized method locks on a class. So if I say option A synchronized block locks on an object while a synchronized method locks on a class. So A option is correct. But one thing more, on an instance of the object it should be added with the question. So that is why if I see only option A, none of the options are entirely correct. But if we have to choose the closest one based on a common misconception, it would be option A. And B option, a synchronized method locks on an object while a synchronized block locks on a class. So B option is wrong. C option, there is no difference. Let me tell you, C option is incorrect because there is a difference in granularity and scope of the lock. A synchronized method locks the entire method, whereas a synchronized block locks only a specific section of the code. So that is why C option is wrong. Okay, let's check option D. Both are invalid Java syntax. D option is incorrect. D option is incorrect because both synchronized methods and synchronized blocks are valid Java syntax. So that is why all options don't fully capture nuances of organized methods and blocks. But the closest to some partial truth would be option A. So if I talk about D, D option is wrong. So only one option is correct, that is A option. Let me write here, A option is correct.